let's get down to the nitty gritty of it. All right, hello everybody. Debo here. Welcome to this YouTube video I'm gonna be uploading today, talking about PTR and all the different changes they talked about back at Blizzcon. Sorry I haven't been on sooner talking about what everything is going down or whatever. It's because I've been playing a lot of Path of Exile, which is a fantastic game, but I'll save all the Path of Exile talk for other games. Really not much going on in terms of the Witch Doctor and these future patches and what they talked about at BlizzCon. We got some slight alterations. I know a lot of people watch my videos for Witch Doctor stuff. Roughly, the big points that you need to remember from BlizzCon is that, or just in general what's going on between BlizzCon and the PTR that we're on, 2.1.2, is that DHs are getting nerfed. I know the big thing they did for their M6 or the Marauder set is they made it so that when their sentries only shoot spinders when they shoot spinders, so now that kind of restricts their sentries a little bit. I know they got some new sets for the Barbarian, they got some new sets for the Wizard. I don't know too much about other classes, I don't want to speak on them. But I know basically for the Witch Doctor, we really didn't get any new sets fixed for us, which a lot of people are kind of angry about, but I think we don't really need it because we're still a dominant force in the 0 DPS build for groups and stuff like that. Ticklet of Visage with the permanent fear, not to mention Piranha's Apparinato for the damage amp, and not to mention Starman Okakuri with Big Bad Voodoo and other things that basically amp damage for the group. We're still #1 in groups, I think, because you always need a Witch Doctor to amp up that damage, no matter what, unless you're running like a 2-person party, but even then you still kind of want a Witch Doctor, because the perma fear is very strong, and nothing is better than disabling a mob as opposed to just sitting there tanking and taking the damage. So a lot of people ask, like, why aren't we getting a lot of stuff changed? But like I said, it's because we're really good in parties right now, and we're not lacking in parties. Like, you can go in a party, carry the group, or be a contributing force inside of a party. Everybody's going to want you, especially if you know to play the 0 DPS spec correctly, because we amp damage and we permanently CC everything. So, like, let's think about it in all honesty. Like, we don't need Wall of Zombies or anything else to be touched just yet. Maybe down the line in seasons we might need little alterations, but we're pretty much in a good spot because we want to be balanced and we don't want to be OP. I know they got a Tickling of Visage build. They have a pet build with the Tall Man's Finger, and they got Jade set. All can do 41 and higher. I know specifically the Jade set can. I know the Tickling of Visage with fetishes, and then the Tall Man's Finger for pet builds can all do 41, or both have done 41 and shit like that. So you got 3 different builds for the Witch Doctor. 2 of which are pet, one that uses Ticklet of Visage, one that uses the Ram and the more typical setup, and one that uses the Jade setup. So we got 3 different builds that can do well, not to mention that our Carnival and also our Rinho Flailor build can also do 37-ish to up to 39, and maybe lucky if you're 40. Those builds can also do well. So we have a lot of builds that do 35 plus, so I think that's the reason why Blizzard's not really worried about us too much. Besides, if they buff us too much in certain areas, then it will just make our 0 DPS capability inside our groups be really nutty. So with that being said, the one thing that we are getting as Witch Doctors is that we actually got the new 2-handed weapon. They redid the Wormwood so that now it not only does it have increased poison damage on it, it also Locust Swarm is cast on a nearby enemy every second, which is really good, which makes it so we don't have to run Locust Swarm. And since they got the increased up to 25% poison damage on the weapon, and with the potential for ancient legendary item rolls, which I'll get into a little bit, the weapon can actually be pretty feasible for people who maybe don't have furnaces. I think the cold Witch Doctor build with furnaces is still going to be the best, but I mean, Wormwood is going to be up there with the Lich Bane and also the Sunkeeper in terms of being alternative things you can use inside the Jade build. I'm looking forward to maybe getting a, how do you say, ancient version of Wormwood. And then with the ability to get rid of Locust Swarm, that's going to open up a lot of different things on our character and help us with mana. Like, because the biggest thing about the Jade build, the mana cost comes from Locust Swarm. So you don't have to worry about casting Locust Swarm anymore. The increased poison damage is nice. Your braces can be increased poison damage. I'm trying to think if there's anything else missing. If you stack a bunch of poison, you can actually go a poison Jade build now, because they also got the Haunt that also has increased poison damage, or that's poison damage property. Haunted enemies take 20% more damage from all sources. So you can use the Haunt with poison, increase the damage sources. You got the auto casting Locust Swarm. You got your weapon that gives you more poison damage. Your bracer will have it. And then you combine that with the simple fact that you could open up another skill instead of running Locust Swarm. And there's so many different potential possibilities you can use for your skill setups. And then on top of that, infectious toxin gem or factious toxin gem, it scales off of poison damage when it applies that dot damage on everything. So when you cast Locust Swarm, it's automatically, or when you have the Wormwood, it's automatically going to cast Locust Swarm, which is automatically going to activate the Infectious Toxin Gem. It saves you mana, so you don't need to cast it. I think Poison Jade builds are going to be pretty good, and believe it or not, I think actually with this gem, or with not with this gem, with this legendary item, you actually might even be able to do a Poison Zombie Dog build with instead of using the main hand offhand. Well, I mean, I guess if nothing's going to beat out Star Medical Curry and then, whatever offhand you choose to use, but it would be pretty nice to use this weapon in a Poison Dog build in case you don't have the SMK, because it gives you more poison damage to the Zombie Dog. It auto-casts a Locust Swarm, which is additional damage. It triggers your Infectious Toxin Gem. You're going to be building poison damage anyway, and there's going to be a lot of cool ways to play around with the Wormwood. I don't think it's going to revolutionize Witch Doctor play. I don't think a lot of Jade sets are going to use it maybe per se unless they just don't have a furnace. But it offers a slight variance in the Jade build, so that's something to look forward to, and you can combine it and use it with different things. It will be a very solid weapon to get while leveling up. It will also be a very good solid weapon to use as the season starts and just in the beginning, because that staff is amazing when you really think about what it's doing. It's a really good tool to get you where you need to be and start getting those T6 runs clear, because you can just get a Quetzalcoatl helmet, get the Wormwood, and you're pretty much good to go. Auto-casting the Locust Swarm, all that additional damages, maybe with some simple pets, you'll be able to do T6 no problem with just craftables in that weapon. So that is a nice addition. Plus, with the Dagger of Darts they have in the game, there's a lot of nice little weapons for Witch Doctor that can really get us up and rolling in terms of leveling and getting the gear that we need, because everybody's going to be building towards either pet builds or actually Jade builds for the second season of 2. The only thing I really hope about is that they improve or trying to monitor people that use exploits or cheats or different things of that nature, but I'm not really worried about it at this point. I tell people just in general, you need to enjoy the game. You need to enjoy the game for what it is. You can't focus on everything else. Have fun, compete with your friends, and maybe if you want to compete against all the craziness, that can be something you could definitely do. Outside of all that, man, they also are including ancient items, and the reason I didn't go too much into ancient items, because basically what it is that I do believe there's a 5% chance drop, or a 5% chance when you get a legendary that it can be ancient, which basically makes it so for like things like SMK and Furnace, it makes it really a small percentage that are going to be like, how do you say, ancient. So some people are having problems with getting an SMK and Furnace now. Imagine if you're having a problem getting a Furnace and the SMK, and then you want to get it ancient version of that, which improves the stats by 30%. It's just going to make it real much of a crazy headache to get. Other items like Sunkeeper, little gears that you have, set item bonuses and things of that nature won't be too bad for that. But getting the particular items that really transcend your class, which is the SMK, Furnace, those items are very important. Tasker and Theo, getting the ancient versions of that is going to make a big difference. I think they did that just to give more replayability so people can always look forward to it. And they said they want to give something to the players that play the game hardcore, something to look forward to. But I think eventually everybody's just going to get upset, because the people that play the game really hardcore are going to have those items. Like, they play a lot of hours, and the people who don't, they're going to get mad and complain. So I think it's going to be a problem later, and Blizzard's going to actually readdress that issue. Outside of all that, the PTR is going good for the most part, except for the ridiculous amounts of queues. The queue time is ridiculous. So, like, if you're making a new character on the PTR, play Storm mode, unless you got friends that power level you. Because once you get into the game, if you put it on hard, you do level 1 to 70 in Storm mode, you'll get 70 by the time you hit 50, because they have, or by the time you get Act 5, I'm sorry. They have a 300% experience game, they have a 2,000% legendary gain, double goblins, a bunch of stuff to let us test the stuff that we need to. And that's one comment I will say towards Blizzard. I'm glad they finally did this, because PTR is meant to be tested, so they need to give us crazy ass numbers just to loot drops so we can just get these items and test them out and see what's going on, and so they can balance it before the next season comes out. So I do commend Blizzard for that. The queue times are absolutely horrible, but to be fair, it's everybody in the world joining on this one PTR server, and I really think they should think about doing something about that for the PTRs. But I don't know how their business shit works behind the scenes. I don't know how expensive it is to open up a server like that, but it sucks pretty badly right now. So once you get inside of a game, try not to leave. If you leave a game, make sure your friend has the game open, because if your friend invites you to a game, you instantly get in. But if you have to create a new game, it will take a very long time. And I will show that to you before I end this video, just to show you how horrible it is right now. So outside of all that, for Witch Doctors, there really is not much going on from about 2.1.2. I do believe seasons are going to be pretty much the same for us. Jade build is going to be king with some pet build. People that get lucky with certain things like Drum and SMK or whatever have you not are also going to be at the top. Expect to see, I think Wormwood's going to be a nice, like a little addition to the Witch Doctor arsenal, which is pretty cool. And it's going to help us be used as a tool to get us ahead. It's kind of like when you get a Grim Reaper helmet at the beginning of the seasons. Is you use it as a tool to get as high as you can get. It's a cheap investing item, and it doesn't cost a lot to build around that item, and it gets you to the items that you really want as a Witch Doctor. So, if anything changes, I'll make another video. For the most part, I'm going to play this season out. I'm going to do 2 builds. I'm just going to do this one build where it's focused around the Wormwood, and I build around that with no Jade pieces, really, just try to maximize the damage of Locust Swarm, use Quizzicoatl, some other cool stuff like that. And then I'm going to do a version of the build with the Poison Jade build. And after I make those 2 builds, I'll upload them to YouTube so you guys can see them out. I might do like a little quick guide about them or how I experience everything, because, you know, I always like to try new Witch Doctor shit. And then outside of that, I'll probably be going back to playing Path of Exile, at least until Season 2 comes out, because I've been enjoying that game a lot. But like I said, I'll do more PoE talk. If you guys want to see some of my early clears of the main boss and Path of Exile, make sure you guys check those out. But as always, I appreciate you guys watching my videos. Appreciate you guys always watching my streams and sticking around and all that fun stuff. And I know I got some extra videos coming out this week, so make sure you guys check all of them out. But I'll be streaming Diablo on a regular basis until I can knock out these 2 builds. And then I'll probably start streaming a little bit more PoE. So anyways, thank you guys for watching the video, and I will see you guys later.